Oh my gosh. Can we have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, it's moved. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, it's moved in second. Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Got it. All righty, thank you very much. And can we have a motion for the consent agenda, please?
I move to approve the consent agenda for tonight's meeting.
All righty, do we have a second, please?
A second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, good. Thank you very much. No special presentations. Unfinished business. Action, approve the proposed 2021-2022 school calendar. Could we get a motion to approve that, and then we'll have this discussion?
I move to approve the 2021-2022 school calendar.
All righty. Do we have a second, please?
A second.
Okay, we got moved and seconded. Mike, you want to jump in and give us some comments on that, please?
Sure. So what you'll see in the calendar are the key dates, which is the starting and the ending of the school year and the breaks in between holidays and such like that. And then you'll see that we have early release days on Wednesdays. And we've coordinated that K-12 so that we have a set schedule to allow families the opportunity to organize their plans and be prepared for when those days come ahead of time, rather than those days randomly coming or erratically coming from schools at different times, late starts, early releases, different days, and things like that. So, but we desperately need those days for the foundation of our district to move into our higher quality programs, to provide opportunities for staff professional development. Investing in staff is number one in getting to higher levels and increasing student achievement. And so we're headed into high gear in incorporating best practices in education. And to do that, we need to have time to train our staff and increase their professional development. So that's what we have in our calendar, other than all of the requirements I provided for you, the Oregon Department of Education, the OARs on instructional hours required for schools. And in developing this calendar with those early release days, we've addressed, we've actually exceeded the required instructional hours for the state.
Awesome.
Super. Any questions from anybody?
How early is the early release?
So the schedule that we have is, let's see. So on the release days, the elementary school will release at 1. The middle school at 1:30, and then the high school at 1:30. So that the older sibs are home for the younger sibs, regardless of what grade level it is. Those families can plan on those times for each school to have those sibs home to help out. And on top of that, I was going to inform you later in my superintendent's report, and I'll get more into that, but we've selected our after school care program for K-8. And that's the Champions program. And they will provide childcare on those days, right when we release kids.
Good.
Yeah. We tried to wrap everything around this that we have, and it's very thorough.
Oh, it looks great. Any other questions out there? Well, not, as seeing no questions, all those in favor of approving the proposed school calendar for next year, please raise your hand. Okay, we're past that. Great, thank you very much. Okay, next, the information, Mike, budget assumption update.
Yes, good news today. If you were listening in on any of the Oregon broadcasts coming out of Salem, you may have heard that the Ways and Means Committee approved the $9.3 billion budget for next year to move forward to the legislature. Previously, they had been set on a 9.1 billion, which was a significant cut to us, about $1 million in state revenue. So now we're up to the 9.3 billion, which is significantly better across the board. We still need to get to 9.6, but that's where we're at as far as our assumptions for next year for revenue from the state schools fund. That's my update. We're preparing for our budget committee meeting on the 19th, and things are looking in order for sure. But we'll have that all prepared by then. But that's good news for our assumptions for the budget.
Oh, great, super. Any questions? All righty, moving right along then. New business, action, posted policies, GBL, personal records, and IGBAH, AR, special education evaluation, and eligibility procedures. Candace, you want to talk a little bit about that? Didn't you?
Yeah.
You're on the committee, right?
Yeah. Yep, I'm
Okay.
happy to talk about it. So we have two policies that are here for your review. This is just our posting. We're not voting on it tonight. You can review. One is the personnel records and the other is special education evaluation. I don't believe either has very significant changes as much as slight wording adjustments, but we'll let you review. And then if you have questions next meeting, we can discuss further.
Okay, any questions out of that? Any comments? Read through those and then write them down, and we'll talk about them next time then. Moving right along, discussion, board evaluation questions. I tried to get a hold of Steve Kelly, who said the OSBA is coming up with a new board evaluation. I don't know if it's a procedure, class, policy, or what, but it's not totally developed yet. Steve was on vacation, but one of his assistants called me, and they're not ready yet, and they won't be ready to do anything until midsummer. And he said if we wanted to have them come down and really talk seriously about board evaluation, it'd be on all the old questions, all the old information that we had. So maybe that's something we can do early next fall or something. But it seems like and that we do that board evaluation every year, but it doesn't seem like we get kind of a plan to form how we can make ourselves better or what we do is more efficient. And I'd like to maybe spend some time with Steve Kelly once they get that developed, and maybe that could help us out a little bit. But any comments or questions out there? Good idea, bad idea?
Excellent idea.
Candace?
I think it's
Okay.
an excellent idea.
Okay, well, we'll follow up on it and find out a little more, and we'll try to get something scheduled. And I think it's important to do that board evaluation, but we also, once we get the answers, we've got to do something with them and see if we can't better ourselves a little bit. And I was also going to get that superintendent evaluation out, and I don't know how I did it, but I lost it. And so I'm trying to get a hold of Krista to get another copy of it. And I'll make sure you guys get that. But that's a bad one for me. That must have been my third thumb hit the delete button or something, but I can't find it. Okay. Any other questions? If not, let's move along to CMS promotion and the CHS graduation ceremony. Board member participation. Mike, you want to talk about that, or do the principals want to talk about that?
Sure. Well, in the past, board members have attended the ceremonies, or the opportunity was forwarded to board members to attend the ceremonies if they wish to. So just wanted to remind you that invitation is open to you. And below, you'll see the dates for the promotion and graduation.
Mike, if we want to do that, do you want us to get a hold of you, or you want us to get a hold of principals involved, or?
I think you can get your request to Marilyn, and then
Oh, okay.
we'll communicate with the principals and take care of that.
Yes. Yes, please let me know and I'll let the principals know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Is that going to be a Zoom thing, or is there a chance we can actually attend something?
we're setting up in person.
Oh, really? Oh, great. Okay. That'd be cool. That's fun to do that. Be a
Yeah,
part
we're
of that.
trying to set it up in the football field to have a stage out there, and then have some canvases. You can rent canvases to, put over the shade folks, and in case it rains, we'll have cover, and we can social distance underneath those canvases, those big canvases.
Mhm. Oh, okay, great. Actually get to be in person, huh?
Hey,
Cool.
full steam ahead. That's where we're headed.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Gee,
principals
well,
are excited. They wanted it this way. They've been asking for it, and when we decided we were moving into high gear, into hybrid, it was like, yes, okay, let's do this.
Oh, wow. That'll be great.
Mhm.
Any questions out there, or get a hold of Marilyn if you want to be a part of that. I think it's always a lot of fun. Okay, moving right along. Information, budget committee meeting. Mike, do you have any comments on that?
Just wanted to remind folks that we're on target for our budget adoption, and our first meeting is on the 19th. We have a second meeting scheduled on the 26th if we need it. And so right in line with our budget our budget adoption schedule.
Okay. Any questions out there? Oh, hey, this is moving along too easy. Trustee reports. Ashley, have you been enjoying being home with the kids?
Yeah, not working. I can do a lot of things.
I've
So
seen,
I attended the executive session a couple weeks ago, and I also sent emails to our legislators advocating for the $9.6 billion that we really wanted instead of the 9.1 or 9.3. Glad we got the 9.3 instead of 9.1. Earlier this week, I got to sit in on the RPA applications and help score with Mrs. Hallie for the after school program that is going to be at Creswell. And then I also attended an OSBA webinar about superintendent evaluations. I found it to be very informative, and they do have it on their website if anybody else wanted to watch it.
Okay, Mark, besides traveling, what have you been up to?
Good phone on. Traveling. But answer a lot of emails. I did the same thing Ashley did. I responded and sent letters to our lovely legislators telling them, please give us the money we need. Still doing work with my shut-in Vietnam vet. Haven't had a chance to do a whole lot directly for our school board or our school district, unfortunately, but hopefully that we'll get to where we can do more in-person stuff, and I can do that.
All right, Candace?
It's very similar executive session. I also used the emails to our legislature and appreciate OSBA making that pretty intuitive to do. We had a policy committee meeting and we reviewed policies. And then my daily contribution to the district is softball practice and games.
mole managing.
many-
Yeah, believe me, I went and looked today.
So how many games will you guys have this year or this spring?
Well, that's an excellent question on how many. It feels like a lot, only because we play varsity one day, JV the next. So we generally have 4 to 5 games a week between the two, which is really good, but it's a lot. I'm starting to get sleepy. But our last game is on Saturday. We have our last doubleheader on Saturday.
Oh,
And the
okay.
girls have done really, really good. They're a really good group of kids.
Well, good, good. I had the opportunity to do a chain gang again at the last football game, which was really fun. I've been to a couple middle school track meets. Those are really fun to watch those kids. I was at a Lane ESD meeting the other night, and then I've answered several letters, and Mike has too. And I think that all the letters that I've sent out, or all the attorney inquiries and all that, I've tried to make sure that you all get copies of that. And if there's any questions in those letters, they get answered. There's a couple of them that have been a little gnarly, but I understand the frustration of what's going on out there. And we've got the kids back in school now, and I'm really excited about that. So I think that's going to take care of a lot of that. But anyway, just try to answer everything and make sure everybody gets a copy of it. And that's about it. Moving right along, any questions for the business manager's report? Okay, I don't see anything. Okay, technology, any questions for Joel? I've got one. How's that outdoor cafeteria working?
It's actually going well. We have that at I thought all 3 schools practically. The high school students, I think a lot of them were used to eating out in the courtyard when it's sunny all the time anyway. But at Crest Lane, we have the covered areas, and that's been an adventure. In fact, I would say that Amy pulled off a pretty interesting feat. We had an administrators meeting, and she was actually on the playground supervising while she was in our meeting, which I thought was pretty darn impressive. And at the middle school, which is what you see the picture of my board report, the canopies, those are canopies we purchased for that. They don't have as covered areas like Crest Lane does, so we supplemented with those canopies, and they've been doing really quite well. We can't put all the sides down. The RSSLs are very specific about the amount of fresh air and what a covered area is, and so we follow those guidelines, but it's been working quite well. I think Julie put out some expectations to her staff and her students. I saw those early on, and they were well received, and they've been running really smoothly.
Great, super. Any questions for Joel? Okay, if not, transportation, we've got 2 new buses that are going to get here before too long.
Yeah, 2 coming and 2 going.
Joel, are those propane or diesel?
They're diesel.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yep.
Okay. If no other questions, special services. Amy, I think I saw you earlier. Are you out there?
I'm here.
What have you been up to?
Oh boy, we're actually starting to gear up for, well, we started state testing and then gearing up for summer programs. And so getting KITS, which is our Kids in Transition program, getting the skeleton of staffing going for that piece, dates, et cetera. And then also extended school year, which is primarily targeted for our life skills students. So it's an extension of the school year to help support their individual goals. And so working on getting those pieces in place as well for families. And then we also, I mentioned state testing, middle school is already completed, and then high school and elementary will begin the process here soon.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, moving right along, Amy. Kids back in school, it's got to be fun.
It sure is. We added, I kind of underestimated this last schedule change. I was expecting it to just be like, oh, we already have a routine. We're going to bring them on for an extra couple hours. And it felt like September on Monday. But everybody, it's kind of brought new life again to the building. It's great to have more contact in person with kids and to remove a lot of our online learning platforms so that kids can really get that in-person instruction, which has been awesome. So day 2 was much better. Everybody was taking a big deep breath, but that first day of getting lunches out there, it was pretty fun. Let's see what's going on. Well, thank you for approving the calendar, because that's like the green light for so many things for us principals. We can now start doing our scheduling and staffing and thinking about the fall, which we're anxiously starting to plan for next year, on top of all collaborating on our summer program. So that's kind of the tip of my brain right now and what I'm working on.
Is that new bus route, is that still working out really well?
It has
Coming in
been. Yeah, it's been really smooth. It's cleared out a lot of the congestion out at the front of the school, which has felt a lot safer for all staff. And even I've had a number of parents who have even commented on how much nicer it is to have fewer kids and not as much congestion out there. We still have some things that we want to look at changing in the parking lot in the future. We're going to hold a parent meeting for people who are interested, probably closer to June, so we can look at those possible changes. We're looking at the direction of one of our lanes and reversing the direction so that we can clear up some of the craziness that happens in that middle area between the 2 parking lots. So all in all, I think the bus has been super smooth over there, getting the kids out the side of our building, and people have felt it being much more safer.
There's a whole army of cross guards out there. They have that street under control.
Yes, and I didn't get a chance to add this to my board report, but I met actually with my 4th and 5th grade teams today, and we're going to start a student leadership team that we'll get the student crossing guard safety patrol up and running again. So we'll be starting with our 4th graders this spring. They're going to get trained up and have an opportunity to be out there with the adults doing the safety patrol, and then they'll come back in the fall and be the leaders on campus running it. So there'll be a lot more yellow vests in the future out there.
Hey, Amy,
Yeah.
I still have it was issued to me by the Lane County Sheriff's Office when I was in 3rd grade, my junior safety patrol badge. Can I use that?
It sounds like you're volunteering. Yeah.
No, but I would like to volunteer to help out in the garden area.
Okay, yes. That's good to hear. We have garden plans too, that we've got some action steps to try and revitalize that area as well. Lots of things happening at Crest Lane.
And I like your new t-shirt design. That is awesome.
That's for the 5th grade promotion. So that they used for years, they did a Crest Lane logo, but then everyone kind of realized, well, actually, we're buying them these shirts. We want them to wear them. Right. So they changed it to like their middle school. So the middle school team also will buy them and be able to sport the design that the students created.
That's awesome. Thanks.
Super. Any questions? Is Julie going to be here tonight, or?
I just came in from the track meet. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm here. I snuck in.
Okay, what have you been up to?
Well, volunteering at the track meets, because it takes a lot of volunteers to run those, and it's been great. Just seeing kids, and I've really enjoyed that. We've been back to full day school this week as far as students on campus, and it is just enjoyable and also exhausting in so many ways, as we all know. I think we should start taking account on how many times we have to remind kids to socially distance during recess. But other than that, they're doing an impeccable job as far as, moving from classes and using the sign outs and the cohort doors. They really are doing a great job, and they've all been very respectful when reminded what they need to be doing. So we are moving into basketball, which is exciting for students. My staff and I are busily planning end of school year events for the students, as well as transition day for our incoming sixth graders from Creswell. So that's upcoming. What else can I say? Oh, next week I'm going around and taking pictures of students in hopes that we can put something together that looks like a yearbook. There are no promises there because there's not a yearbook committee, but we are trying to do something for the students. And then my 8th grade parent committee has been busily working with me. We are starting, they're putting the baskets together right now at Creswell, actually. And our hope is to have our online auction up next week. And that link and everything will go out so folks can see the baskets and donations that have been given to our 8th graders for their promotion activity. So lots of things going on, but all good and very exciting to have kids back as much as we do.
Oh, super. Thank you. Any questions? Boy, we're quiet tonight, which is fine, but Jenny, in 20 words or less.
20 words or less. It's really nice to see you all. I hope you're having a good Wednesday evening. Yeah, so some exciting things at the high school too. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at the board report and click on the link for our students of the month. I didn't include that this time. That's really fun. And the big thing that you will see at the end of that is that our Future Business Leaders of America did amazing this year. We had lots of state placers. We also had a first place Oregon State champion in Karina Leonard, and she actually gets to go compete at the national level. So that is pretty exciting. We have another student who are actually 2 more students who get to compete at the national level because they got second place in state. So that's pretty exciting for everything being on Zoom and people being distanced.
And I have to say, I'm very proud because 2 of those are softball girls. And Corinna did not mention it, and I'm going to be talking to her tomorrow because she should be telling everyone about it.
Yeah, that is pretty exciting to have, you know, state qualifiers and then 3 going to nationals. So really excited about that. And of course, we still need chaperones for prom. If you want to put on your black and white and your prom dress that you maybe had and come, Amy Halley's going to come. If you, Mark, want to wear your badge, you can come as well. We'll let you carry a crossing guard sign. But that's going to be 22nd. It is going to be in the courtyard at the high school. We're going to throw out hula hoops and they have to dance and socially distance in their hula hoop. I think I'm kidding, but I'm going to go buy hula hoops at the dollar store and throw them out there to dance in. They'll probably all show up in go-go boots just to spite me. So let's see here. We have our senior awards night coming up in June on the 3rd. So that'll happen before our next board meeting. And then of course, graduation is planned to be outside. And we kind of went out and walked the field and set up what, you know, we hope that it's going to look like and kind of rearrange some ideas. And we're just going to hope for good weather. Kind of the farther back you get, the canvases make it hard to see. You can't see the stage because it's too high and they're too low if you're back farther. So we're trying to work out the details there. And then I think I agree with Amy. Thank you for the calendar update. The big thing for us too is really trying to put together a 4x4 schedule, which we have been working off of this year. And we, for the most part, the feedback that we've gotten from students and parents is they appreciate only having to work on, you know, 4 classes at a time versus 7, really having that 90 minutes to dig deeper into that. And, you know, there are some areas where it will be more of a challenge, but I think that we are working through how to adjust to that as a staff, and everybody's really been on board. So I did put Lots of information in the board packet about the 4x4, including some statistics that came from the high school success group. We actually partner with them. One of the people who leads our inflection is on that committee, and so the data from there has just shown some good results with the 4x4 schedule. So that is what we are doing right now, just trying to get next year's schedule built and get students placed. Everybody's forecasted. We start state testing on Monday. Let's see. I don't really have anything else exciting. Sports is fun. I got to watch a little bit of the middle school track meet. It is so different to see the middle schools out there versus the high schoolers, and just the silliness that was upon the track today was fun. It was fun to watch them. High energy. Whew. Holy moly.
Well, thank you very, very much.
I have a
Candace?
I have a question about the 4x4 schedule. The evaluation period, make a commitment to shift, recognizing the first year may not go smoothly, but constant evaluation to make adjustments. What's kind of our thoughts or plan around the evaluation period?
Well, just recognizing that that's what the first year is going to be, just a lot of evaluation on, is it working, and getting feedback from teachers, getting feedback from students, and then making adjustments. I think that it's hard when you move to anything new. If it doesn't work right away, I think people just have a tendency to want to go back to what they know, and not give something time to work or to get better. And so just recognizing that first year is really going to be an evaluation of what's working and what do we need to tweak to make it work better, so that we can go into the second year with a solid plan.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Jenny, I'd like to ask, I have another question for Jenny around that 4x4 schedule as well. When I was visiting with parents over a parent-teacher conference over this last year, because this last year it was a 4x4 schedule as well, right? It'll be very similar to what we experienced, only luckily next year will be in person. Yeah. Most of the curriculum that they would have gotten done in a regular full-length year, they weren't able to adjust quickly enough. And I totally get this year. Right. So I'll just use English as an example. When I was chatting with my daughter's English teacher, normally they would have gotten more units on essays, poetry, other things in than they did in this shortened, condensed time. And so how are they taking the learning from this year on, yep, we didn't get all of our units in, so that next year when we continue this, they'll hopefully cover what normally would be a full curriculum. Does my question make sense?
Yep, it does.
Okay.
I think there's two things to answer to that. One is that our teachers were really dedicated to making sure that the students got as many standards as they could. And this year, the state put out those power standards that we needed to focus on in CDL. So I think we cover those, but we're not able to cover a typical year, just because we were in a CDL learning environment.
Okay.
And hopefully you guys are hearing me because my computer says unstable. But so then the other piece to answer your question, how do we do that in the upcoming 4x4 schedule? The big difference is going to be 90 minutes as opposed to 40 minutes online. So we have those kids for a 90-minute class period, which means that teachers will adjust and put more into a period. The other big thing is that with the addition of the early release option and being able to use that time for PLCs, teachers can look at the students' data on a weekly basis and say, this lesson worked, this lesson didn't work, kids didn't get this, what do we need to go back and revisit? And all of that can be done in classroom. Kids get to do it in the classroom. Teachers assess learning in the classroom versus teaching it in the 48-minute period that we had, and then kids having to go home at the end of the day and do it on their own. we can really make sure that all of that instruction and learning is happening in that 90-minute block where teachers have eyes on the whole time. So it will be an adjustment, but I know that our teachers are amazing. They're going to do a great job. And for the most part, there are some subjects that make that harder, but for the most part, they're ready to roll.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the one thing I wasn't thinking about was next year, we really will have more instruction time.
Yes.
So that's a big key to being able to get more curriculum in. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course.
Any other questions? All righty, moving right along, Mike. Well, wait a minute, Lacey, I didn't know you, I didn't catch you coming in. I don't have you on my screen. What have you been up to?
Yeah, no worries at all, Mike. I didn't want to disrupt the flow because I did sneak in late. And I apologize for my tardiness, but I was volunteering at the track meet, the middle school track meet. So yeah, that's super fun. So I helped with both last week's and this week's middle school track meet. I was doing long jump last week, javelin, and then the finish line. And the finish line is some pressure, I do have to say. I don't know if I want to be there again. A little bit nervous about writing down the right numbers there. So we had leadership meeting. I did advocate for school funding via email, and I did also make one phone call to one of our legislators as well. And I loved hearing that you guys were able to use the OSBA tool and ping our Oregon delegation as well. So thank you for doing that. Yeah, so track meets, I watched the track meet down in Cottage Grove from outside the fence since no spectators were allowed inside the fence from Creswell. So that's a really weird feeling, I have to tell you, being a parent, like on the outside of the chain link fence and my kid is on the inside. I had to do some self-reflection of, okay, my kid's in there, I'm not allowed in. I kind of feel like I'm, I don't know, excluded in prison, even though I'm outside the fence. It was just really weird. So for all the parents that have had to go through that for kids in sports, it gave me a much deeper empathy for parents with that. So I'm going to be really happy when this whole mask thing is over and we can get back to feeling super connected to kiddos. And then I do have to say, I watched the high school outdoor club. The leader there, Liz Babs, she took some kids to the columns in Eugene, and we're teaching kids how to climb and rappel. And I was watching a group of kiddos that I knew to be introverts. And I mean, they were outside their comfort zone, and the kids were encouraging each other. The teachers were encouraging. And so I was super impressed because I think if that teacher did not bring the equipment, provide the activity, I don't think any of those kids would have had that experience on that one day. So that was pretty exciting to watch primarily those girls step outside their comfort zone and do something super physically scary. And then they all chose to rappel. If they couldn't climb to the top, they could walk the trail, and they would take their time, get them in harnesses. And each of those girls literally stepped off that cliff, sat down in that seated position, and walked down that. It took them super long to do, but I was so proud of all of them. And I just have such an appreciation for teachers for giving those opportunities to kids to really challenge themselves. So huge shout out to every teacher, every coach, every extracurricular club leader that is challenging our kids right now. So I think they need it, and I think it's a huge confidence boost. So anyway, that's my appreciation and my report. Thanks.
Thank you very, very much.
Yeah.
Mike, you're up.
Okay. Well, last Tuesday, I was in a meeting, Tuesday the 4th. I was in a meeting with all the superintendents across the state and the agencies, the COSA, Confederation of School Administrators, the Oregon Department of Education, Colt Gill and his team. And they facilitated listening sessions with all the superintendents. So we had several different breakouts with different questions to work on from ODE on how we could give them feedback on what we need for next year. So coming out here in June, about the first week of June, they're going to be releasing the new RSSL guidance for the next year. And so there's some modifications coming up in the protocols and who's making the decisions on the metrics. A lot of that information is going to be locally. Those decisions will be locally made again, but they're working out all the wrinkles in it, and they're going to deliver the information, at least what they know of, in June to us. So we're planning, based on the conversations that I've been involved in anyway, we're planning in Creswell to start out the year with a full schedule. Full-time school, full-time schedule, running right at it. And unless they change things dramatically, I know that we're pretty determined, superintendents are anyway, to make that happen. So we've given everything, all our feedback to ODE, letting them know that this, where we're at isn't where we want to be. It's better than where we were. We like having our kids in school, but we're determined to have full schedules in schools in the fall to start the school year with. So, but more to come on that. I'll have a PowerPoint slide deck to show you when I get that information, and we'll go over that in June. Or any questions on that before I go to the next thing? Okay. As you may have heard, we've had a huge kind of a mafia undertaken out there in our ball fields. We've had a mole infestation to the level of what they call a mole colony. I don't know how many moles make a colony. I didn't even know there was a colony, but now I know there are mole colonies. And we had a mole colony out there. And through that whole traumatic situation, I learned a lot about, well, it didn't take that to learn a lot about it. Being out and about and around the school grounds during the fall for the football games and such, you could see, that our grounds maintenance has fallen below standard, and it's been that way for a long time, to the point of where our coaches are really doing our grounds and maintenance work out there in the ball fields. And so we have been talking about bringing on a groundskeeper and for the last year and a half, and we have a posting up now to bring on a groundskeeper. So we're going to have a groundskeeper coming on board to get all our facilities up to standard with our grounds and ball fields and what have you. Our buildings are, some of them are falling apart at the bottom. They're just kind of rotting away, and we got to take care of some of that too. But I think with the maintenance out on our grounds, what we really need is a person, and we can do that. So we've posted that up, and we'll have a new person coming in to take care of the grounds. It's a half-time position, but in getting the schematic together and the hours and what we need throughout the district from Joel and Brandon, that will cover the position. And then the other half-time will be supporting our buildings through the summer for our summer school program, and into next year for all the sanitization that has to go on daily. That will still be required all next year. So we need some more support there. We've been short. We've been operating that way to save some money, but now that with our plans to go full time with a full schedule, we're going to need that other support and bring that on. So that'll be what that position does. Any questions on that one?
Thank you.
Very neat. Yeah.
We do need it. And I encourage any board members that don't spend a lot of time on our fields to go walk around, because it will become very apparent why we need these roles in our district.
Watch your ankles if you're walking on our field.
True statement.
Not only that, if you walk out there at the wrong time in the last couple of months, you can get drug underground by moles. They'll take you away.
Oh, that's great.
Candace told me she counted 40 new mole holes in 3 days
Yes.
on the field, and I believe it because I looked out there and it looked like it just had grenades blown up all over the place. There were
Yeah.
holes everywhere.
I mean, it's so much better, but I've counted probably 20 new ones today, just walking around over on the side. So the colony is strong in our.
Well, we are determined to, so we'll get it. We're getting there. And then in my report, I listed the activities. If you have any questions about those, I'll answer them. But I think really the big news there is that we have landed on a summer program for summer school. And along with that, we're looking to bring in our new after school care program, Champions, to team up with us there to provide childcare after school and through the summer while we have summer school. So what we're looking at is a half day of summer school backed up by a half day of childcare with the Champions program. And Champions has put together a summer program with enrichment activities that also support literacy and math and STEM projects. So we have, we're still working on it, but the application for the summer school grant was submitted. Amy Aguero submitted that for us, and it was approved by the Oregon Department of Education. So we have been accepted for the summer school grant K-8. And then the other grant for 9-12 for credit recovery was submitted and accepted as well. Thank you, Jenny and Amy, for doing that, Aguero. And we're looking at right now tentatively 3 2-week sessions of summer school. And the job postings went up last week, and Amy Aguero has been interviewing for those positions for both certified and classified staff. Actually, our principals have been at the buildings. And we had a staff survey go out to determine which staff would be, or how many would be interested in working in our summer school program. And then we're working on a parent survey and enrollment to go out. But we need to tie up some loose ends next week. But the principals are working hard to coordinate that at their schools, at their levels, because we do intend to have separate levels, elementary, middle, and then high school. And, but our new provider, childcare provider, is a big piece of this plan. I sent you all an email that I sent to the committee, the after school program search committee. And you can look at that letter and it'll explain the process that we follow. Is a very thorough process to make that selection. We had high standards, but there's also required criteria that they have to meet as well, state required criteria. And so, yeah, we're really excited to have Champions on board. And that's about it for me, unless you have any questions.
Anybody have any questions? Well, if you don't, any board requests that you can think of in the future, let us know about them. Mark your calendars for May 19th for the budget committee. We'll start that process. And get a hold of Marilyn and let her know if you want to take part in the graduation ceremonies for the middle school and the high school. And let's see, I think that there's some dates, well, about the budget committee meetings, and then the dates for the graduation ceremonies are on the sheet. So anybody have any other comments or questions for the good of the order? Or I think we broke a record. I thank you all very, very much. You guys have a great evening. Enjoy the wonderful weather.